Got it?
Yeah.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tequila Tuesday, special edition of Tequila Tuesday. We're going to be talking about GTM Assist, as well as go-to-network and network-led growth and nearbound and all of these kind of terms, and announcing a very cool partnership with some folks that we'll introduce you to in just a second. But for those of you who are new to the community or have not heard the story of what we're up to here, I want to give some background. This is my own kind of narrative, and if you're wondering where all this is coming from, or if this is totally out in left field, the answer is it's not. The answer is it's becoming more and more popular, more and more mainstream, and people are thinking about this, and it is now kind of on the cutting edge of sales. And it's a little bit controversial because it's ruffling feathers of the old guard, which if you know anything about me, I absolutely love. And it's being embraced by big, huge companies, not just early stage startups. I have not one, but 2 speaking slots at Dreamforce in San Francisco in September, specifically on this topic. A lot of the stuff that you'll hear today, I'll probably talk about while I'm delivering my content in San Francisco. So how did we get here? The thesis and my belief is that the go-to-market strategies that we've deployed for the last 5, 10, 15, 25, 50 years almost are dying. It's not that they are dead. I still think that cold calling can be effective. I think that cold emailing and social selling are effective and all these kinds of things. But it's an undeniable proof now that they are less effective than they used to be. You can't pick up the phone and cold call and get the same pickup rates and connect rates as you did 20 years ago when I started. You can't do that with email either. There's 10 years of data that shows open rates and reply rates have been declining over email. Why is this happening? Well, number one, our behavior has changed. So you have to start with society's behavior. Okay. Some of us who are old as dirt, like me and Chris and other people like that, we grew up with a phone like on the wall, right? And you had to spin the thing and you had to hold it. And my first sales job, I talked to people like this the whole time while I was typing. Okay. It's the world that we grew up in. Prior to that, there was all the door-to-door like salesmen, vacuum salesmen, knife salesmen, all that kind of stuff. We got real like industrial, and then we started flying around everywhere. And then we realized that we could be kind of everywhere all at once if we used the phone. So then we built all this technology that allowed us to make 5 million phone calls a day and dial like 10 numbers at once, right? So it's the sort of normal human story where we have something nice and humans exploit it and destroy it and make it become completely irrelevant until there's nothing left and there's no use case for it. If you don't believe me that the phone is going out of style because you're a salty old dog and cold calling still works for you and all this kind of stuff, I want you to go talk to a teenager, whether it's your grandson or daughter or your siblings or your kids. And I want you to ask them how much time they spend on the phone talking to another human being. The answer is fuck all, absolute zero. I know because I have 2 of these teenagers. They have a device. They do not have a telephone. The device has telephone capabilities. They don't use that capability. They don't even text the way that some of us text. I can't even get my child to respond to me when I say, hey, do you need a ride home? Hey, what time are you going to be home? They don't operate the same way we do. So while you may be able to call people right now, I'm talking about what's going to be the future in the next like 3 to 5 years. Explain to me how you're going to cold call the C-suite founders of tomorrow, which are like my boys, and engage them on the phone. You are not going to be able to do that because our behavior has changed. The telephone has become a distraction. We screen all of our phone calls. We have caller ID everywhere. It says spam. It says telemarketer on it. You can see who's calling you before you pick up. I don't even pick up the phone when my friends and family call me. because I'm like, I'm in the middle of something. And my initial guttural instinct is this is a distraction, somebody's pestering me. The same thing has happened with email. We started emailing because we thought it would be a more scalable, less kind of like scary way to cold call. So we started emailing people. And then guess what? We decided, wow, we could just spam lots of people and throw all sorts of things at the wall, and we'd still get some return and damn the consequences. So what we created was spam cannon technology that allowed you to build sequences all over the place and automate everything. And now our inboxes are absolutely out of control. Our parents get scammed by Nigerian princes who are extracting money from them. We get hit by people wanting us to franchise out a State Farm agency or a Whataburger or whatever, right? Most of us have thousands of unread emails in our inbox. You even have products now that are specifically built to gate and guard your inbox so nobody can get in unless you already know them. So our open rates and reply rates are way down because I don't respond to anybody unless I already know who they are. Same thing with social, same thing with LinkedIn and DMs. If you have a sizable network or you're any kind of creator, you get dozens upon dozens of DMs on LinkedIn every single day. If you use their inbox at all, you know it's a hot mess. Everybody complains about it all the time. Now, imagine getting 2-3 dozen DMs a day. It is very hard for me to sift through and figure out which of these is real, who do I actually want to engage with. Between all the messages I get of people asking me if I need software development based out of Sri Lanka and places like this, it's completely irrelevant. And so again, people are super guarded. Now you can have an auto response in the DMs on LinkedIn that says, hey, sorry, like email me. If you don't know my email, fuck off. Like you can't get through. That's how we behave now. So how the heck are you supposed to break into new opportunities? So the idea is that go-to-market kind of approach is going to die off. And the only way moving forward you're going to be able to break into new opportunities is through your network. And so go-to-market evolves to become go-to-network. What is go-to-network? Go-to-network is network-led growth. It is referral-based. It is partnership-based. It is current customers. It is current employees. It's people in your community. So community-led growth can be part of it. Anybody who's in your network who can broker an intro on your behalf to somebody else that you're trying to get a hold of and sell to, that's how you're going to be able to get into opportunities. In particular, if you incentivize them to do so in a meaningful way, people will be motivated to do that. In essence, you can find ways to monetize your network. Sellers, individuals are motivated to do that because everybody wants to have multiple streams of income. Nobody trusts one company with their livelihood to keep the lights on, keep their family fed, all that kind of stuff. We've been through the ringer way too many times. The cat's out of the bag. We all know we can't trust employers. We can only trust ourselves a little bit. So everybody's got a side hustle. Everybody's trying to monetize their skill, all this kind of thing, right? So what does it look like? It looks like I am friends with Ryan. Ryan and I know each other. Ryan trusts me. So if I go to Ryan and I say, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of this guy, Mac. I don't know if he has this problem or not, but I don't know, maybe you know him really well. Maybe you can help me get an intro. Here's what I do. If you can get me the meeting and we close the deal, like I'll pay you 10, 20% of the first year's deal. Ryan, who trusts me, is going to be like, oh, Scott's a good guy. Seems like a reasonable request. I know Mac pretty good. So Ryan goes to Mac and says, hey, this guy, Scott, is trying to get a hold of you. I don't know if you have this problem. He solves it. If you do have this problem and want to talk to him, I'm happy to make the intro. If not, no big deal. No harm, no foul. We'll let it go. So Mac says, yeah, sure. I actually do have that problem. I trust you, Ryan. And if you trust Scott, I'm happy to take the call. So Ryan brokers the intro. That network effect is based on trust, right? Mac and I have a conversation. In theory, we hold a meeting. Maybe the deal closes. If the deal closes, Ryan gets a cut of it. That's sort of how we got here in terms of where the sales motion is going, right? And how we're trying to set things up with go-to-market assist. So in the early days, we were just testing this theory on our own. I've been doing it for the last couple of years. I did $1 million in referrals for Gong and for Orem last year. Just each of those companies. Got myself a 6-figure check from both of them. Got a little trophy from both of them. So I know this stuff works. The mistake that I've made and other companies have made is you only ask one person about one thing. It's a two-way failure. So let's use Gong as an example. Gong comes to me and says, "Hey Scott, looks like you know Mac. Can you make an intro?" And oftentimes I'm like, actually, I'm only connected to him on LinkedIn. I really don't know him, so I don't feel comfortable making the intro. And then Gong says, "Yeah, no problem. We'll leave you alone." And they stop. So there's two failures right there. The first failure is Gong doesn't go for scale at all. They're only asking about one person or one account. That's a mistake. The odds are that we can't help if you just ask about one person. Why aren't we asking about 100? Why aren't we asking about 200? That's mistake number one. Mistake number two is mine. Because historically, I stop if I don't know this person. What I should do is go down network to everybody else that I know and say, "Hey, Tony, do you know this guy?" Tony does know. You do know him. Sweet. I got this thing. If we can make an intro, I'm going to split half of the commission with you. Now I've looped him in. So our idea was to combine network-led growth, go to network with a community to provide income earning opportunity for the community and to help educate all of you and get you started in this practice of kind of nearbound selling. Nobody has done this yet. Nobody has gone to the community and said, "Guess what? We're going to provide an opportunity for all of you to make referral income and monetize your network." I've got all these relationships with different vendors. I'll bring in all of those. We'll put their requests in front of you. And then you can go in and figure out like which ones you know, and we'll find a way to make the intros and hopefully you get paid. All right. There's a few critical unlocks in order for this to work at the community level for GTMUnited. The first one, you all can help with a little bit, but it's really in Ryan and I's control. It's the size of GTMUnited. If we have 200 people in the community, we can only make so many intros. If we have 2,000, the number of intros we can make is magnified. If we have 20,000, I'm fairly convinced that there's not a single person on the planet we wouldn't be able to make an intro to. So the size of the community is a big unlock for us, right? The second unlock is quality control. You're not going to be willing to make intros to crappy companies and crappy products and crappy people. So I have to do a good job, and Ryan has to do a good job of vetting who we let in, right? It has to be a good product. It has to work. They have to be good partners, to deal with. They have to pay on time, all this kind of stuff, right? And the third unlock is we have to find a fast, easy way to help all of you do this process, because it's a little bit manual. It's a little bit painstaking right now. You got to go check LinkedIn. You got to click this. You got to click that. We built an Airtable thing to try to, make it a little bit better. But that's all like sticky notes, duct tape, and a glue gun. Okay. What we've known we've needed is a partner to work with who can help kind of expedite this and make it easier for you all. Because one thing I know is you all want to make money, but what I also know is you're all lazy as hell. And so unless I make it even easier for you, you actually won't take the extra step, even if I put it right in front of you, to make more money. So I'm trying to find a way to make it even easier, even more efficient for you to participate in this motion. And so we had a lot of conversations. I've known Mac Reddin for, I don't know, a little over a year and a half, maybe now. He has built a company called Commsor. He's got a couple different products in there. Matcha is one. Bronto is another one. I'm probably screwing it up even more. But we are super excited to announce that we've partnered with Bronto to power the GTM Assist program. So we now will have a software layer built in here to help make this whole process a little bit easier. And I want you all to know a couple things. This is like phase 1.5 out of like 10 phases that Ryan and I have talked about with Mac. I want reporting. I want gamification. I want transparency around intros you've made, updates clicked into the, tied into the CRM, a dashboard that shows how much revenue you have open out there, how much has closed, what day you're getting paid, all this kind of stuff, right? So we've got a lot of work to do. If you did get paid right now, it would still be a manual process. It would go a little bit slow. You'd have to bear with us a little bit. But we want to kind of roll this out, kind of onboard everybody all over again. And Mac, along with, I think Tomas is here as well somewhere, are here to kind of help talk a little bit about why they want to partner with us. Mac, I'm sure, can elaborate on the whole go-to-network, near-bound network-like growth kind of motion as well. And yeah, you all should have some invites in your inbox. And that's how we got here. So super stoked to welcome Mac Reddin and Tomas, if he's here, from Commsor. And take it away.
Hello. Well, I appreciate the glowing intro. I think Thomas is here as well, doing background tech support in case anything is needed. But I'll take charge so he can rest his eyes. It's been a long day. But yeah, it's great to meet everyone. Appreciate you bringing us in here. Yeah, I will give a quick blur about Bronto and then actually show you all the product. You should all have invites, as Scott mentioned. I think about 20 of you have already signed up for it. Essentially, as Scott mentioned, we believe in the power of go-to-network. We started as a community-led tool and have evolved into this go-to-network motion. And our belief is that your network is your single most valuable thing, right? You hear every salesperson's heard this over the last 2 years. Build your personal brand, build your personal network. Your network is your net worth, all that sort of stuff. And there's not really a lot of tools out there that help you do that. So the cool thing about Bronto, and I'll show it all in a second, but not only is it going to help power GTM Assist for this entire community, but it actually helps each of you, as Scott mentioned, start to experiment with go-to-network motions with your own day jobs as well. So hopefully there's add-ons that provide value beyond just making intros and cashing checks, though hopefully cashing a lot of checks. That's obviously the end goal for everybody here. Let me share my screen here real quick.
Matt, too, would you mind,
yes.
And obviously everybody wants to get to, and y'all, for context too, the hope is to be able to give people insight into like how to onboard into Bronto, get set up, sync your networks, so we can start, again, better operationalizing how to facilitate these introductions. Mac, if you can give some context into Commsor and like your founding of it and just a little bit of the story,
yeah.
I'll build context too for everyone.
Yeah, happy to go deeper into that. So I've been a founder for almost 12 years now. I dropped out of college, classic tech founding story. Bootstrapped a bunch of companies across a bunch of different spaces, had a few successful exits, and then about almost 4 years ago now, started Commsor. Started as like a hackathon, using a lot of my community background. We were building a community operating system. So our first version of the product was think what HubSpot is to a marketing team or Salesforce is to a sales team. We were building for community teams at companies. And through that and building that over the last 3.5 years, we kind of stumbled into this broader go-to-network thing. And over the last 9 months have been evolving into what we are now is the short version. But yeah, my background is in community building and company building. And there's a lot of learnings from the last 10 years on the power of the network, the power of who you know. I do not come from a traditional tech background. So the biggest company I've ever worked at is Commsor. So every time we hire a new person, it's a new record for me, the biggest company I've ever worked at. And I think that's allowed us to come in hopefully with a perspective that is not steeped in necessarily how things have been done, but steeped in a sort of fresh perspective on how things could be done. Hopefully that's interesting context for everyone.
That was beautiful. Exactly what I was looking for. Thanks.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. If you don't have an invite, by the way, just drop in chat. We'll make sure you get one. Everyone should have one already from Bronto and Commsor in your whatever email you've signed up to this community with. Cool. Let me just share my screen here real quick.
One ask of folks. Thanks everybody for showing up again. Just do your best to try to follow along with what's happening. So if you haven't signed in yet, go to your inbox. Evan will get you hooked up. Make sure you get one. But just use this as an opportunity to learn and get onboarded in an intimate environment.
And for what it's worth, we've hopefully built the product in a way where it's hopefully relatively self-explanatory. But also you'll see there is a Bronto help channel that's been added to the community here. So whether it's, after this, tomorrow, a week from now, feel free to drop a note there and we'll be around to help troubleshoot and figure things out.
Yes, keep dropping your emails in because we'll get these invites sent out. So thanks everybody for.
Yeah. By we'll get the invites out, Ryan means he'll get them out since he screwed up and didn't send it to you.
Oh.
Well, yeah, we'll just blame Ryan. That's easier, right?
Your job. You'll get used to it, Mac. We just blame Ryan.
Scott's job is to blame Ryan. So yeah, let's pile it.
Perfect. All right, I'm getting used to it. We'll get there. All right, let me share the right screen here since I have so many screens
Thank
open.
you, Jill. Thank you, Jill. Oh, and Chris found his too. Okay, thank you.
Yes, check spam. The classic, as we talked about earlier, emails don't work so well anymore if you don't know who the people are. So that as well. Cool. Let me share my screen here. And I don't think I can see chat actually while I'm doing this. So if anyone has any questions, wants me to re-explain something, I don't know, Ryan or Scott, if you don't mind, just
I'll do that. I'll police that a little bit.
Pinging it to me. Cool. So this is my actual dev test Bronto account to show it off here. Home screen here, you can see networks shared with you. You can see who you're sharing networks with. You can see intro requests, things like that. I'm going to kind of skip over some of the things that are useful in Bronto for you as individuals and come back to that. We're going to start with the GTMUnited stuff. But when you come in, this screen will actually have a walkthrough for you of connecting your first integration and things like that. If that screen is not there for whatever reason, you can click integrations in the bottom left here, and you can connect. As of right now, you can connect your Google and your LinkedIn. We are working on adding other sources. As Scott also mentioned earlier, right? How often do you go to reach out and be like, hey, Mag, I saw you know Scott. Can you make an intro? It's like, I don't know why I know Scott on LinkedIn. I've been connected for 3 years. I don't know that guy. I've never spoken to him. So we're working on adding other channels here, like Gmail, your calendar, WhatsApp, iMessage, Slack, all those things. So you can actually start to map your professional network in a much more complete way than just LinkedIn. Because as we all know, LinkedIn is definitely a big part of it, but not everything. For those of you who've used other LinkedIn plugins before, we've spoken with the LinkedIn team. We've gone through extensive testing. You will not get your account banned or suspended or things that other LinkedIn automation tools. We don't do any automation stuff or anything like that. So you won't have any issues with that. I know that's a question that comes up a lot. But once you've done that, you will see these left tabs here of your contacts start to populate. So you'll see some, all contacts. You'll see some segments for each account you've connected, Google, LinkedIn, etc. And if I click in on LinkedIn here, for example, you'll see it's pulled in everyone that I'm connected with on LinkedIn and everything that we know about them from their LinkedIn. So their name, their current job title, the current company they're at, their description, location, if that's been pulled in, username, things like that. I can actually open this up and get some more extended info on people. And of course, when you do a live demo, it's always a little slower than the minute before. I think as salespeople, we all have experienced that a few times. This is where I get to go blame Thomas instead of blaming Ryan.
You can blame me too. It's fine. And y'all, if you're having any trouble seeing Mac's screen, just go into full screen on Kajabi. You should be able to get the full look. Oh, Brian Lamanna I don't know if he's here today right now, but
Well, it'd be funny if he was, and I was happy to show him off here as the random first one I picked. But so you can see their title, you can see their past titles, their past companies, all that sort of stuff. Eventually, in a future version of the product, you'll see all interactions with them. So if I've LinkedIn DM'd him, interacted with his posts, emailed Brian, those interactions would show up here. And then if I want to store notes, just like you've done in a CRM, I can store notes here. And once again, I can go through and talk to every feature, but that's the gist, right? So you connect your network, it maps it all in one place. We do a lot of work to dedupe them. Things you'd expect from a CRM are here: filtering, adding notes, segments. You can build custom segments, all that sort of stuff. Skipping ahead a bit to the GTM Assist Hub. You will see this only because you are part of this community. So this is exclusive. You are the first people to get access to this. You are on the cutting edge of GoToNetwork and helping us develop the future of it. So what happens, as Scott mentioned, they will do the work to clarify or qualify that a company is good to work with. They get the leads that that company is trying to get in touch with. And if you've used the Airtable before, it's similar to that. And this is an example one here of, folks, like we've framed it as folks that Commsor is looking to get an intro to, which obviously is not accurate because we're not looking to get an intro to someone who already works at our company. But you'll see this list of all the people that Gong or Commsor or whatever company is looking to get in touch with. So you can see the name, you can see the company, their title, their LinkedIn. If there's other information, you can see estimated contract value. So you can be like, oh, wow, like they're trying to go after Commsor and Commsor's $100,000 contract. Like, yeah, I want to make that intro. That's worth a lot. Depending on what information the company's provided. And then you'll see these ones that are highlighted. So instead of having to manually go through and be like, oh my God, there's 325 people here. Okay, who do I know? Let's figure it out, which is a lot of work. We will automatically highlight the ones that we think you can make an intro to based on, once again, having your Gmail and your LinkedIn plugged in. You can also filter this to view certain companies. You can filter it to just show the matching contacts. So in this case, I think I have like 8 or 10 contacts that are matching. And that is hopefully saving a lot of time if you've gone the Airtable route in the past. So in this case, I go, okay, I can make an intro to Luke Hefson. I open that up and it'll show, if there's multiple Luke Hefsons, you can pick the one that's correct. In this case, I've already actually submitted the suggestion here. We were testing this earlier, but I've now told the admins of, I've told Scott and Ryan that I think I can make this intro to Luke on behalf of Commsor or Gong or whatever it is. On the back end, Scott and Ryan can then see that, and they can see here, for example, you can see I've now suggested that I can make this intro. So actually, I think I will have, I think, Thomas, if you can just approve it on the back end since you're in there, hopefully. I'll show you what happens now. So this helps enable the high quality, right? To make sure someone just doesn't go through and go spam, I can intro. It allows for a little bit of quality control. It will also allow for Scott and Ryan to add context. So, oh yes, here's some context that Gong provided about the intro they're trying to get to Luke. So when you go and try to make the intro to Luke, you can be specific with it. So I'll just refresh here. Hopefully Thomas heard me on the back end there. There we go. So now I can see here that it's been approved. And now I can basically confirm the intro with Luke. And once that's done, I'm not actually going to do this because Luke will actually get the intro. It'll automatically do the opt-in between the person at Gong or whatever the requesting company is and Luke. And then it'll be stored in the system as you made the intro and there is credit. And you can see here, right, this is, the person who should be contacted from the contacting company and the blurb, which in this case is just blurb, but would be context that would be added to make the intro. I'll pause there for a second. I know I just dumped a bunch of interesting stuff, hopefully, on you all. But that is the V1.5, as Scott mentioned, to hopefully enable a more streamlined and more powerful GTM Assist program within the community, but also to get you all access to understand your network better. You can actually then start to invite other people to share their network with you. So if you have colleagues, right, you got your marketing friends, your developer friends, your non-sales friends who you want to invite to share networks, and then you're looking for deals in the future, you can do that as well. And of course, so right here, I've already got 8 people who are sharing 20,000 contacts with me. I can come in here and I can filter and, look by job title, by name, by company, and see, oh, like I'm trying to get in touch with someone at Tableau, for example, here. I can click request intro, and this will now request, oh, well, not if I break it. Once again, I know. Sorry, Ryan, blaming you again.
You're getting the hang of it.
Getting the hang of it. This is where we now go, hey, Thomas, on the back end, we got to fix this now. But theoretically, you'd be able to browse all the network of all the people that you have shared with on Bronto and request intro. So you can also start to actually enact your own go-to-network motion as well as assisting with the GTM assist within the community.
So
we got a couple of questions. Ryan,
yeah,
go ahead.
Before we get to that, let me just, so first of all, thank you
Yeah.
for walking through that, Mac. I just want to call something or two things out. First of all, if y'all have been involved in the experience that I and Scott had sort of duct taped together around Airtable, you can already see this is an exponentially better experience. For anybody that's been a part of this community for more than 2 days will know that like Scott and I have no shame around building public. Like we live with our heart in our sleeves, and we operate in a way that is truly, hopefully, in the best service of the folks within this community. But we're also just figuring shit out. So like, to be able to work with a company like Commsor that is doing things and building a product in service of individual empowerment, allowing people to get more access and better activation around their own personal network is huge for us. But just know that like we're still very early days in this stuff. So one, there's going to be technical hiccups. So we obviously appreciate all of your patience around this. And two, if there's concerns on, and Mac, we can broach in a very a candid and like open environment here around security concerns and stuff like that. If you don't feel comfortable with any of this stuff, I would encourage you just to not participate until you do. We have nothing to hide here, and we really just want this to be the best possible experience for everybody that's involved. So like, I would love if y'all have specific questions. If you have technical issues, thank you for calling it out in terms of getting those verification emails. And Thomas and Mac and Scott and I can help making sure you get access. But like, this is meant to be an open dialogue and a safe space for folks to ask questions. But I just want to make sure I reiterate those 2 points. Knowing that, Scott and I are not beholden to any one organization or company. We're building this community for you all, and we have your best interest at heart in that regard. So
I will say on the security front, members, like other members of GTMU, the admins, they don't see your network by default. Only you can see the overlaps in your network with the intros. And then when you share your network, you can only people that you choose to share it with see it. No one sees it by default. You can even actually go as far as like, for example, I have this test segment here of people named Peter, Thomas, and Thomas in my segment. I can share just that segment. So you can be very selective with people. Like I get founders all the time who are like, oh, Mac, do you know other investors that I could get interest to? I was like, oh, cool. Yep. Here's my investor list. And I'll send that their way. So you can be very intentional with what you're actually giving people access to. And there's nothing in here that's not already like publicly available on LinkedIn profiles or anything like that.
So I'd welcome folks that have questions. I'd ask if there's like specific questions around like the email verification stuff. I know Thomas is making notes as to who's not getting that stuff, so we'll make sure we get that addressed. But like outside of the logistical questions with stuff like that, like, we want people to ask questions. We want people to pressure test this, and again, understanding this is still early days.
Go ahead, Thomas. Wanted to add something.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I want to add a few things on the security side. And Mac, frame me here as a tech support. I'm actually head of product here. So I'll be implementing all of your things from product perspective. But security-wise, look, both integrations we have, they went through official Google and Google Chrome verifications. So there's no exposed API, nothing. It took us a lot of gray hair for the last 2 months to get it verified. Second thing is, Commsor already has SOC 2 Type 1 going through SOC 2 Type 2. And if you're sharing your network, we're complying with GDPR. So if you're sharing with someone else, we just share the name and publicly visible and publicly searchable information. So no emails, nothing will ever get shared.
Yeah, no email is displayed until you choose to make the intro in that case.
Cool. Mac and Thomas, there's a couple questions around visibility into the GTM Assist workspace. Can you speak to that at all? I think Randy and Connor are saying they're just having trouble.
Yeah. So Thomas, you want to take it? Go for it.
Yeah, I think no one from the members will see it yet, as Scott and Ryan didn't share any of the lists, any of the target lists to you. So if Ryan, if you drop a link to that, anyone who can click on that link will get the little GTM Assist hub on the left side.
Yeah.
So it's Ryan's fault again.
All right, Thomas is already ready. See, Scott, we gotta get Blame Ryan t-shirts.
No, I'm onboarding them as well as they're onboarding us. They're getting used to it. There's a question from Calvin. Calvin, are you here? Can you come off mute and ask a question?
Yeah, I'm here. What about being able to integrate into your like phone's contacts? So like there's probably people I would definitely say, okay, if I have their number, I'm way more likely to actually know them than a connection on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we are working on that. We have a laundry list of other integrations we want to add to make a more complete picture. LinkedIn and Gmail were just the low-hanging fruits to kind of get the 20% of the work to cover the 80%. But yes, we are planning on integrating, as I mentioned, with WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack, your phone's contacts. Our goal is to give you a complete picture into your entire professional network. We've actually even talked on that topic about integrating with things like if you have your own newsletter on Substack or things like that, so you can get like your followers in there, like the extended network as well.
I want to spend a minute just reiterating the importance of this. I don't know if you really realize what's happening in sales, but everyone who's in an SDR role right now, your entire role is trying to be killed off. You realize that? If you don't realize that, you should realize that. The SDR role will not exist within a few years. Number one, AI is coming to take over all low-level tasks and rewrite all of your messaging and all that kind of stuff. So you're potentially going to be attacked and or rendered useless from that front. But again, in a world where people don't open and reply to emails, and unless it's from somebody that you know, and in a world where you're not cold calling because it doesn't work at all, what exactly is an SDR going to do? All you are is an expense and an absolute increase in customer acquisition cost. You're not going to exist. When a company can deploy an unlimited global workforce that is cost and risk free by deploying a referral network like this, that's what's coming. So be scared of it and do nothing and watch what happens. Otherwise, you better start leaning into this right now and you will be ahead of 99.9% of everybody else out there.
So Scott, I'm not going to disagree, but I will say that there's also the other aspect of like, how about competitive differentiation when you're thinking about applying for other jobs? Tapping into something like this and being able to have this as a tool in your tool belt to speak to why you understand where sort of relationship selling and go-to-network selling is going. It's like,
Yes.
and just like the stuff that we're going to be doing with sales process operating system, like it is a way to be able to, and one of our core values around individual empowerment, like create not job security, but employment security. Like
it is. It comes up every single time in the last 2 years, and more so now than ever. Every single time somebody's going for a head of sales or a VP of sales job, you're being disqualified based on the size and limitations of your network if you're up against somebody and all other things are equal. And that same thing is going to happen to you in an account executive role and any other role that's out there. Two people, all things being equal, one has a network, one actively deploys go-to-network kind of strategies. You win that job every single time because I don't have patience or time to like coach you up on how and why you should have a strong network and a sizable network. I'm hiring somebody who already gets it.
I want to tease the future on that a bit. So we are eventually working on a team hub version of Bronto, where you can imagine that like everyone at your company has Bronto and you can search your entire company's networks across investors, your top customers, things like that all at once. But we're building it in a really cool way. How many of you have had this happen where you're at a company, you're there for 2 years, you're putting notes and thoughts into their HubSpot and their Salesforce, you're putting thoughts and building lists in their sales nav, and then you leave, they stop paying for the sales nav. You go to quickly like try to export that like Salesforce contact list before you leave, so you like still have them, and then you have to like basically start over when you go to the next company. The way we're building it is that your Bronto account will always be yours. So even if your company buys the Bronto Team Hub, this is 6 months down the road realistically, and you plug it in, yeah, that data is being shared. But if you leave, you're taking it with you and going to your next job. It becomes your virtual Rolodex that goes with you from job to job to job, which I think also hits on that job security part where you're not just like pumping data into a company system for 2 years and then walking away with nothing.
I mean, it's like democratizing access to your own, and listen, Scott, I'm not going to speak on Scott's behalf. The only reason I've had success in my career is because I've been given opportunities by companies, but that does not mean that I haven't provided the lion's share of value to that company in the efforts, especially in a customer facing or new business development role. Like the world is moving towards a direction of transparency and also individual ownership of everything that you have access to and that you provide value for. So like, I just want to encourage people to think about arming yourself with the tools and the skills to be able to be agnostic in terms of being able to provide value to a bunch of different companies or a bunch of different prospective customers and not just one, and losing leverage when you do get let go, you decide to leave, you're not being treated well, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to overstate that. And I don't want to but it's just really important. And it's a huge tenet for why we wanted to start this thing is individual empowerment, not company empowerment. Mac, is there anything that you want to talk to? And I don't want to muddy the waters here, but like, and I know we're still exploring the conversation at the time with Cole around the meaty stuff. Is there anything you want to talk about with matcha and sort of where you're headed with that? That might be of the folks.
That's definitely going to muddy the water, but I'll leave a fun little maybe like thought provoker for you all is that we have two sides to our business. One is the sort of like, I don't like the word decentralization because that makes me think like Web3. I think Web3 has ruined that word a little bit, but decentralization without the Web3 piece of like the LinkedIn sales nav. Like that's a lot of what Bronto is in a lot of ways, right? The other side of what we're building is called Matcha. And this is a very ambitious goal, transparently, but I'm mostly saying it also because if you all have ideas, I want to hear them. Matcha's goal is to kill LinkedIn, like the front end part of it. Just like, shoot for the moon, maybe you'll hit the stars, something like that, right? But basically the other half of it is built on this belief that the front end of LinkedIn is, I don't know, it's a social media cesspool a little bit. I don't know if we all agree with that, but I don't think it's hard to disagree with that completely, I would say. And it's also not built for the way the modern professional works. The resume piece there is like incredibly out of date for the way a lot of people work these days, right? It's like, how often do you see a LinkedIn profile where they have like 8 current jobs? It's like, it's not really a resume anymore. It's kind of confusing. But also we're building in a community first way. So we're building a lot of tools to help you network and meet people and kind of like do that. And I know we've been talking with Ryan Scott about rolling out a matcha networking program here as we roll that out, which will make it easier for you guys to expand your network as well. So on the back end, Bronto is the measurement tool, the introduction, the network viewer. And on the front end, Matcha is the tool that helps you actually make that network larger. So hopefully those two work hand in hand to create value for everybody.
And just some context around like the why for us to pepper on there with connecting people effectively is like the thing that I have been most excited about. One of the things I've been most excited about with this community, even with just 230 odd members, is how many times I've had conversations with folks and have heard firsthand that they've connected with somebody else or multiple people within the community that Scott or I had no idea they made the connection. And I'm talking literal business ventures have started, partnerships have started, and people have become friends, like ability to land jobs, like the ability for us to make it easier for you all to meet one another, especially with either specific prompts or with specific context as to why you want to meet, just enhances the community experience exponentially. And it can literally make a return on your investment from a membership standpoint if you meet one person that can move the needle in a certain part of your life or professional or personal that you're trying to move. So like that, how can we create an experience for the community members that is like way easier to use and way easier to get connected to the right people, and just like turn that organic way of meeting into a little bit more of a systemized way for you all. And I'm super stoked about that. Any like I know we've covered a lot and went a couple of different directions, but like any other specific questions that folks have around this direction, why we're doing this, questions on Bronto and GTM Assist in particular. Of course, it's going to be recorded. Scott and I, our DMs are always open. We did open a Bronto specific help channel on the left. It's called Bronto Help and Resources. And we're going to be rolling out more information around how we're going to continue to evolve, assist, and start getting these actual companies and target accounts shared with you guys so you can start one of the floodgates open. We're waiting patiently, Connor, to make sure that people are getting actually like onboarded and signed up for Bronto. And then we're going to talk about next steps of actually getting these companies in front of you all.
Yeah, and I've been throttling. Ryan and I have been throttling. The volume of design partner vendors that we're working with. Been keeping it low to not overwhelm us or any of you all. I get requests every single day. I had 2 this afternoon, for example, and I'm telling them no right now. We have opened up as a community millions of dollars of pipeline already. What's going to happen is some of that pipeline is going to close at some point here soon. Everybody knows deals are moving slow right now. Sales cycles are slow. But once those start closing, think about what we're going to be able to do. We're going to be able to go to these design partners and these vendors and say, well, you have to pay us now for access to GTM Assist. Because look at what our community does. We've got 230 people who are like free referral partners for you now. We're going to open up millions of dollars of pipeline. We're going to close deals for you. And the word will start getting out there. We could become like a seriously powerful group of folks to help every company out there move the needle in their sales process who will want to work with us. And eventually you'll be able to see, it'll be like Grace has made 17K on referrals this year. Brent has made 23K. Brandon's made 34K. Like, you're going to see the numbers coming in.
I think it's also, I want to add, not just helping companies, but also hopefully like you all can help each other sell more, right? Like if you know someone who someone else in the community is trying to sell to, because you can share your Bronto networks with each other. So it's very multi-layered in hopefully being beneficial and not just a check creator, but like multiple check creator.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, just curious. As far as the partnership goes with Bronto, why Bronto instead of some of the other, I guess, platforms or vendors that are out there on the market right now?
Great question, and I'd love to flip that question around to Mac as well. Like, why GTMUnited versus other communities that are out there? From my personal perspective, a couple things. Long-term vision, not just of building like a quick, simple, easy way to refer people, but the greater schema of things, the transparency part, the what happens once an intro is made, and monitoring like what pipeline I have out there, what I'm expected to get paid, when I'm going to get paid, when I'm going to get paid on it, all this kind of stuff. So the whole like greater ecosystem versus just a part. That's number one. The second part is like an absolutely insanely fast ability to iterate on something. Like you haven't seen this, but Ryan and I have had conversations with Mac, and hopefully I'm not overstepping my bounds, but like somewhat like directionally informed things about the product, right? And Mac's like, okay, cool, we'll have that done in like 24 hours. And then the thing is like built in some V1 way that they'll be able to iterate and improve upon. So the speed with which he's able to come back and execute some of this like shared vision has been phenomenal. So those two things for me were the differentiators. I'll let Ryan speak, and then like I said, I'd love to hear from Mac on like why GTMUnited and not other communities.
Yeah, and I also just want to call out the fact that we've had and have actively like gave a stage for folks within the community that are members that are operating in the space, like the ability to speak about what they're doing, and like we'll continue to give a platform for people to do that. The reason that I think I was so excited about this partnership in particular definitely what Scott had outlined, like the speed to be able to get things deployed and the long-term vision. I mentioned sort of the individual empowerment, and anyone that's seen anything that I put out on LinkedIn knows how I feel about this stuff. But like, this is where the world is headed, and the ability to see this as a tool to, again, activate and give more power and influence over the control and leverage of your network, as opposed to doing it in service of a board or a company, is just one that, like, I don't know, I'm going to make that bet on. And the team, I mean, we've known, and I hope, again, I don't know over stepping, but Ashley in this community, and her podcast and what she's done, I've watched what Commsor has done over the last little while, even from like a content standpoint, and the people they have on their team. Like, these are good people, and clearly they know how to ship good product too. So there's just limitless opportunity here, and the fact that even early stage, and as much clout that's Scott and I have in the sales community and what we've done to build up this community, we're still early days. Y'all, we launched GTMUnited in April, and we've made a lot of progress, and we've done a lot of really cool shit in a short amount of time. But like, we're still early, and the fact that Mac and his team saw an opportunity to do this with us because we hadn't beaten this drum just fired me up even more, because we're in this thing for the long haul, and our focus, again, is on what we can do to create opportunity for you all, because we know that we're going to be successful as an organization if we focus on the member experience and empowering each individual person that walks through these virtual doors. So yeah, but Mac, I'll kick it to you.
Well, for starters, I should explore how much it costs to hire you two as spokespeople, because you guys do a better job of selling us than I do. I appreciate it. It's yeah, I think the short version is it's vision alignment. I think there's a lot of communities we could have talked to or we have spoken to who are like, cool, money, thanks. Like, we want to make money. And that's like, it's very short-sighted. So I think there's a lot of, I mean, the conversations we've had in Slack over the last, few months and back and forth, there's just a lot of, alignment. You guys believe in the same future we believe in and that we're trying to build for. Especially when there's still a lot of salespeople that every time I post something on LinkedIn, they're like, bullshit, you don't do cold calls. You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, sure, maybe. But yeah, so it's vision alignment. Obviously, I mean, the fact that this is a great community, I think there's also the benefit that it's like a smaller community. And I've been building communities for 12 years. And I've seen that sometimes the smaller communities actually have significantly more value. And it's a lot easier to work with them. And as just side note, Thomas just mentioned, we forgot to upgrade our email sending provider for the bigger plan before we did this bulk onboarding. So that's why people weren't getting verification emails. So that should be solved now, in the spirit, as he mentioned, of building in public. And in the day, I think we wanted to work with GTMU and Scott and Ryan because they approached it as a partnership rather than just like, make us money, cool, thanks. Like, I'm thinking of like, what's that character in Parks and Rec? The girl who goes to her dad, she's like, money, please. Like, that's what a lot of other conversations felt like.
No, I appreciate it. No, it sounds like a great opportunity. If you don't mind, one more question on the back end. I know you kind of touched on it, Scott, but as far as like future vision once you get outside of the DPs, what does it look like? I mean, we all probably work for a company that we'd like to solicit, our offering and whatnot, but having like onboarding new customers to leverage these platforms or leverage this service. Like, do you have a vision of what that looks like? If that makes sense.
Let me attempt to answer, and then you can tell me if I heard incorrectly. The first bit is, and I'm very passionate about this part as somebody who's been doing this referral work for a long time. What happens right now is once you make an introduction, everything goes into a black box. And I, as the referrer, I don't know anything now about what's happening. I don't get an update that the meeting happened. I don't know if it was positive or negative. I don't know, if a contract got sent. I don't know if it's closed lost or closed won half the time. If it was closed won, I don't know what the contract size was, let alone what I'm supposed to get paid on it and when I'm supposed to get paid. So what happens is I have to do tons of admin work and be like an annoying mosquito going to the Gongs and Orums of the world, being like, oh, hey, what happened with that thing I did? What happened with that intro I made? What happened with this thing that happened? And half the times, these companies are like, oh, that deal closed. And I'm like, how long ago was that? You're supposed to pay me on that, right? And it's a massive pain point. There's no transparency there whatsoever. And no company so far has built that back end part, because companies don't care. You know why companies don't care? Because it's in their best interest if you forget. And yes, I'm jaded, and yes, I'm a cynic, but I've been a part of this. They don't care. So I'm not envisioning building it for the company. I'm envisioning it building it for us. So we then have power, and we are able to say, no, I'm not going to work with you as a referral partner because you don't provide transparency. You don't tell me what happens after the intro has happened. You don't tell me what my pipeline looks like. You don't tell me what's closed and when I'm getting paid. So I'm not going to work with you. I'm going to choose to work with this other company that does this. So that's my vision for like the back end part. The second part of your question, as I heard it, was what is our vision for kind of who we work with and that kind of process that's from a vendor perspective, right? So what companies do we want to partner with? Well, I think you cannot sell a transactional low price tool or piece of software or something like that, because the reward is insignificant. We're all at like different levels of income and life phases and whatnot, but like nobody is as motivated by $50 as they are by $5,000. So if you're selling a product that is like $1,000 a year and it's a 10%, referral, you're getting $50 off of that, right? That's not motivating. But if I'm selling a $350,000 piece of software and I get 10%, I just made 35 grand for doing what? For making an intro. Now you've got my attention. So part of the criteria will be, what's the cost of this? What's the estimated contract value? Because I don't want my people making intros for things that is not going to pay them very much. So that's one criteria. Second criteria will be, is this company like respected? Are they known? Are they, is it any good? Like, does it actually work and bring results for their customers and their clients? Third will be like, what's their relationship with me and or Ryan? Is it like pulling teeth to get information? Or is it like working with Mac where they get me what I want, like before I even get off the phone basically with them? Do they pay us, quickly? Do they communicate well? Do they give us the information that we need, or are they trying to make us do most of the work? Things like that. Probably some geographical stuff as well. As an example, I don't believe that we have many, if any, members in APAC or in Africa right now. So if I've got companies specifically selling over there, I would probably skew away from there right now and skew more towards people who are selling into North America. There's an application process right now on the website where companies can fill it out. It comes to Ryan and I, we review it. We decide whether to tell people thanks, but no thanks, or take a call and kind of walk them through it. So we are the gatekeepers of that process as of right now. And in the future, I believe once we're making all these introductions and deals are closing and we're all starting to get paid, I believe that Ryan and I will be able to charge a SaaS fee to companies on top of the commission that they pay out. So making up numbers, XYZ company pays us $500 a month to get access to the GTM Assist, portal powered by Bronto and all of you in GTMUnited. And then they pay 10%, 5% to GTMUnited, 5% to you all on top of that. So did I answer your question, David?
Yeah, yes, you did. And I appreciate the added context to frame it.
Yeah, no worries. We're up on time. Anybody have any last questions?
Not a question, but I will say we are working on some limited edition GTMUnited X Commsor merch with our little dinosaur logo that people seem to like. So we'll make sure we get that to you all as soon as possible as well.
All right. One of the things that we want to do moving forward, we got to pick the exact date, but I want to have a GTM Assist Power Hour. Everybody knows what a Power Hour is. Everybody used to, stand up, kick their chair away, and make as many calls as possible, all that kind of thing. I want to just have like a little office session where we all dig into the vendor accounts that are up there, and we look at our networks, and we just sit and all like have a goal of trying to be able to broker 1 or 2 intros, and we do this kind of work. Because if you don't sit down and actually try to do it, you're not going to get any benefit from it, obviously. And I know, again, how lazy everybody is, how well-intentioned and how lazy everybody is. So my hypothesis is if we put like a power hour on our calendars and we all sit down and try to do it together, including Ryan and I, that we'll actually do it and it'll be more fruitful for us. So be on the lookout for that. We've got a lot more people to kind of onboard and stuff first, but that is something that we will be doing soon.
And it'll be more fun than cold calling.
Yes, it will be actually more fun than cold calling. That's for sure. Yeah.
Well, just because I want to hang out with you people?
Yeah.
Come on now.
I mean, just another reason.
Any last instructions or thoughts, Mac, Ryan?
I'll just say, like, just like Scott and Ryan about building in public, we're building in public. We're very transparent. So please let us know questions, issues, thoughts, feedback, all the above. Let us know. We're not shy. Happy to hop on a call with anyone. If anyone wants a personal onboarding, just reach out. We'll walk you through the whole product. Anything at all?
Let's use the heck out of that Bronto channel as we're all using the product. Let's tell them what works, what doesn't work, what would make this better. Share all the feedback. Let's light that channel up so all of us have as a good experience as possible. Let's force Tomas and Mac to build more and more stuff.
Force us to stay awake till midnight again, working overtime.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank y'all both for showing up in European hours too. But with that, y'all, like, of course, just like everything else we do, operate with respect, make sure that we're assuming positive intent. This is an awesome opportunity. We're still very early days. We're figuring shit out, but like Scott and I, along with the team at Commsor, just fucking jazz up about this. So reach out to me and Scott directly too if you have other specific questions. This is another thing, like, sign up for, I'm going to plug this because why the fuck not? Sign up for our affiliate program for for Go-to-Market United membership. If you think that people in your network could benefit from getting involved in leveraging this, even at this early stage, like, get them in the mix and get them in the mix with Go-to-Market United. This is just going to be one facet of this membership that is going to be hopefully a game changer for a lot of folks in this call. So we want to do it intentionally with the group that we have, to Mac's point, around like a more intimate, smaller community. We get it right. We figure it out. We fix the kinks now. So as we do continue to scale this thing, it's just that much of a better experience for the next people that are joining. So, thank y'all for showing up and for sticking around a few minutes over. The recording for this will be up in the meetups tab. Again, use that Bronto channel. And if there's anything else, you know where to find us. And one last thing, on Thursday, we will be hosting the Sales Process Operating System meetup. David, Scott, and I are at the tail end of getting everything ready for this course launch. We have a lot of people who have reached out to get access to that. We're going to be walking folks through it on Thursday, so really excited for that. Make sure you show up. That is, I believe, 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. Make sure you check the meetups tab. And if you need anything else, you know where to find us. Cool. All right, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.